So I'm coming into work. I don't know where Kevin's at. His truck's here, but none of the lights are on. Maybe I saw a light in the office. Hey Kevin, you in here? What are you doing?
Nothing, just hanging out.
Oh, the trophies.
Yeah, trophies.
Wait, you got 2 of them?
Yeah, we had us a pretty good weekend at Cletus and Cars Indy, didn't we? Won the street car shootout, whooping James in the final, drilled him on the tree and drove out of his life to get the win. Yeah, we got a little head gasket, but that happens, you know, no big deal.
You'll have that on them big jobs.
You'll have that occasionally, especially with our heavy 2nd gen Camaro. You know, that just happens sometimes. But yeah, and then the Indy 800, like, actually it's that trophy. I gotta get them mixed up, you know, but yeah, then in the Indy 800, just kind of put on a clinic, saving the right front tire, made it all the way through the race on the tires that I started the race with, and brought us home a win.
You want me to give you guys some privacy? You look like,
no,
okay. Oh, you're done.
Yeah, we got to get to work.
Oh, okay.
We got some stuff to do around here. So.
All right.
Yeah, so let's get to work and let's show you guys what we got going on in the shop. All right, everybody. Well, I thought we'd do kind of a funny intro there back from the race at Indy from the weekend. It's not really what this video is going to be about, just kind of catching you guys up a little bit on what's been going on with me, what's been going on with the shop, everything that kind of been up to, and why I haven't been doing any videos for basically the last month and a half-ish, something like that. Appreciate Eddie on the intro there for the filming and the commentary, and he was also my spotter for the Indy 800, so huge props to him. It's a big help for me in the race car, being my eyes from outside the car. And no, I'm not the only person that uses a spotter. There's a couple other people that do, and if you don't, that's your fault, because you can use one, and it's okay. All right, so back in the shop, and you may notice there's some of the same cars that have been in here for a little while. But that's the way it goes at a small shop doing several big projects at a time. Grant's Corvette is coming along with some stuff in it. We've got all this stuff basically mounted, starting to plumb the dry sump system. The engine is in it with the exhaust. We've got all the EGT bungs welded to it, and lots of other small modifications. This thing is being built with the intention of being super ultra lightweight, but also reliable. So we've done some things that are a little bit different here. It actually has a Volkswagen alternator on it, and this is actually a D-stroked 6-liter. So it's a 6-liter with a 4.8 crank in it. We made some custom brackets here. Eddie fabbed all this up that mounts the power steering unit directly to the cylinder head. And we're going to have a reservoir. I think we're either going to do it over here or somewhere up here on the cylinder head. Kind of working on that still, but we've got a spare pump we're setting up. You can kind of see we welded a AN bung to that inlet right there. But lots of little things have been going on with it. You can see it's got the Daly's dry sump pan on it, as well as, you know, the pump and everything here. And this was where I kind of got the idea to mount the dry sump pump directly to my oil pan on my engine. So haven't done a whole lot with my engine, I'll be honest, and we'll talk about that more in a little bit. But we've been working on this 4th gen Camaro, kind of chipping away on some modifications to it. See, the engine is back in it now, but it is going to come out again for us to finish welding in the panels to close off that gap. We put the engine and transmission back in it to finalize the transmission mount, drive shaft loop, cross member for the torque arm. The car came to us and it had a bolt-in torque arm mount, and something had happened along the life of this car where I don't know if somebody tried to pull the car with the torque arm mount or something, but the floor was all pulled out of whack. Cross member was crooked in the car, and the owner of this car wanted to do a gear vendor's overdrive, so we had to kind of make a custom cross member and stuff for the drive shaft loop anyways. So you can see we've kind of got this all taken care of, and just decided to run the torque arm cross member directly to the subframe connectors. The floor through this area where the seat cross member, I guess you could call it, where that seat brace was completely shot, rusted anyway. So we cut that out, and then that gave us a nice spot to mount the cross member, and that will also be where we mount the seats. So the idea is we'll build a floor that kind of dead ends into that cross tube, attach the floor from the back, and then the bar will be sticking out of the floor to give us something to weld the seat brackets to, actually make the seat mounts part of the chassis. So that's kind of something we're after there. We got an old street rod in for some suspension rebuilds, you know, bushings, tie rod ends. One of the springs is out of its pocket. Something that came in, supposed to be a real quick job. We got it up in the air and all kinds of stuff was wrong with it. I've been back in the back doing lots of dyno tuning and keeping myself busy back there with a few different projects, which I don't think much of that got shown. But we've got the Black Viper back in again, which unfortunately it hurt an engine at Road Atlanta, and that's the hurt engine right there. So it just happened to work out that Lee's other engine for the red car came back, and basically like the week after that one got hurt, or that one got hurt, and what we think happened is it just oil starved at Road Atlanta. And you can maybe see that it spun the rod bearings here. Kind of seems like an oil starvation thing. Everything was happy until it wasn't. So I've been trying to get as much done on Spencers as I can, but it hasn't been nearly enough as there should be, or what I want to be. And it's kind of been something going on, and maybe I'm not the only person that this has happened to, but it's kind of like when it comes to, I've heard of, you know, like riders getting writer's block. There's been several days where I have come in to work on Spencer's car and just struggled with the progression of steps for where I need to go next on how I want to accomplish something, a fabrication project on his car. We've got most of the funny car cage all wrapped up. I've got a couple more bars to do in the roof, and the seat mounts, like it's not a struggle with, you know, the how so much as it's just order of operations, because you don't want to go do one thing and then have to backtrack to do something else. And for a situation like that, if I come in and get frustrated with my progress on that car that day, and at the end of the day I look at what I did that day and it's nothing worthwhile, you know, I kind of end up wasting a day on it. And I don't bill the customer for that, no matter who the customer is. If I don't feel like I'm having a really good day efficiency wise on the car, it doesn't get billed. And it's just kind of like how I try and be with all of our customers. In a lot of ways, we spend more time working out some of these projects than other shops may do, because we try to be very detail oriented. It's kind of been my process all the way from the beginning of pretty much as far back as I can remember. I used to build model cars when I was a kid, and I was detail oriented back then. Actually won a little awards on little model car building contests that the local hobby shop had, you know, back, well, we're talking 30 years ago now, back when I was 12, 13 years old. And I don't even know if model cars are still a thing. Like it used to be, you could go into Toys R Us. Yeah, and I know I'm dating myself with Toys R Us. But you could go into Toys R Us and they had a full-length row of model cars, paints, model planes, like, you know, the 1/24th scale. And that stuff's just not as popular as it used to be anymore. But even back then, I was very detail oriented. And my goal for a lot of our builds, especially like a full build like Spencer's here, this thing's gonna be complete KSR with the exception of the engine and transmission, but complete KSR engineered. And my goal for something like that is that every angle and every corner and nook and cranny that you look at the car looks finished. There's a lot of cars you guys may have been around to where, you know, you look down in the corners, it's not all that great. It might have some sharp edges. It's kind of more along the lines of the burnout car. Like, just throw the thing together, go out there, not worry about destroying the thing. I mean, I worry a little bit about destroying the thing because we like participating in the burnout contests. But, you know, a lot of that kind of mentality of just getting something done. And it's something that Freiberger has said, David Freiberger from, you know, Motor Trend and Hot Rod and all that other stuff. Don't get it right, just get it done. Well, when you're building a car in your garage yourself, I totally agree with that. If you're out to just, you know, go have some fun, but as a business with my reputation on the line, I can't just half send something. So for like a car like Spencer's here, we're trying to really, really dial this thing in so that it is really good looking anywhere you look at it. Make sure everything's smooth, everything's easy to work on. Like, we're gonna make it where the front end comes off, you know, as easy as we can possibly get it. Make it to where it's easy to work on the, you know, the engine as possible, which having the front removable, it'll be a big help for all that. And we've got, this is gonna be another dual fuel system, huge radiator car because it's drag and drive deal. We're building it to try and run into the 6s with an LS 427. Similar to the way Mullet was, kind of version 1, except for this thing should be 400 pounds lighter than what Mullet ended up. And you know, with Mullet, we're given the chassis of the car, had to end up making a bunch of changes to the chassis of the car, but we're trying to rush it and get it done as quickly as possible, and it still took a while because, you know, that kind of OCD thing. And I don't really know if I haven't been clinically diagnosed with OCD, but maybe it's a thing. But we got that thing done, and that car is really heavy. Like, for going really fast, and you put, you know, a lot of power in a lightweight car, you're gonna be able to go a lot faster than you would be if you had a heavy car. So that's kind of the idea, you know, with the fiberglass front end. We've got to graft in the headlights, got to open up the grill area on this thing. Lots and lots of stuff to do to put the street function back into this. And that's kind of some of the reason why these builds really take a long time when somebody is bringing us a car, and when it leaves here, we are going to the racetrack. It's wired, it's plumbed, it's dynoed, it's got a basic suspension setup in it to go to the track for us to then start making some tuning changes to work the car and make it faster. Kind of how all this stuff goes with developing a car, and you know, for us, that's just kind of our process. The Cutlass, I have filmed a few more videos with it, and there's something big-ish sitting outside for it, which I don't think I'm gonna show you that in this video because I've got a progression that I need to keep with the videos on the Cutlass. The engine, we kind of boxed up all the stuff because the table I was using was our merch table. So I had to pack all that up to go to Bristol. So that's kind of when the progress stopped on my stuff. But I definitely appreciate all of you guys checking in and reminding me that, yep, I'm not keeping up my end of the bargain as far as keeping regular videos coming. And probably the biggest reason for all of that is, you know, when it comes to this YouTube stuff, it's a lot of work, especially to do it to the level that I want to do it at. And some of that is the being very detail oriented with it. I want to put out good content for you guys to watch and enjoy. And when it takes more time that I have available, obviously something's got to give. You guys know I'm a single dad. I have 3 daughters that are now getting involved with extracurricular activities at their schools. They go to 2 different schools, and on the Thursdays, I have them 50% of the time. So I have them every Wednesday and Thursday, and every Thursday of mine, I spend 3 to 3.5 hours every day driving from the house to one school, to the other school, to work, back to one school, back to 2 schools, out to gymnastics, back to work, back to gymnastics, out to the second school to pick up from chorus practice, back to the shop, back to the house. Lots of driving. And the big delay in the YouTube videos kind of started during their spring break. And I tried to, trying to be a good dad and go do something enjoyable with my kids. They're age range from 12 to 7, and trying to go do something fun with them, and kind of just got behind on the YouTube stuff. And I've filmed a decent amount of stuff. Like I said, I've got a couple of videos on my Cutlass, got a couple of videos we had on the Viper about a big thrash right before Road Atlanta. We've got the Bristol Streetcar Takeover race, the Danger Ranger on dirt, Cletus and Cars Indy Burnout Competition, Streetcar Shootout, and the Indy 800. And I'm not gonna lie, I've gotten a little rusty on the filming stuff. So I think this is the biggest break that I have taken from YouTube kind of since I started it. At least started to do it more consistently. And there comes a time when, if you put too much on your plate, you end up getting burned out with something. And I think it's probably fair to say that I got kind of burned out on how much work and effort I was putting into YouTube. One of the frustrations I had too, I wouldn't say really a frustration, but just had a goal to get to 300,000 subscribers by a certain time period, and took a break, last fall. You guys probably, maybe you remember what that was about. Really killed the momentum of the channel, and that's kind of how it went. So killed the momentum of the channel then. Got a little bummed that I didn't hit 3,000 by the end of last year like I was hoping to. And kind of made a run at the channel again here, a couple of months ago. Had a pretty good March, April. I think it was March, April, February. I don't remember. This year's flying by already. So, but I definitely appreciate all of you guys that have been buying merch from the channel still, been buying parts from the website. We've been trying to get more of that organized, and it's been going really well. If you guys see something on our website, it is in stock and you can purchase it, whether that be Holley stuff, Leash Electronics, TRZ Motorsports. May or may not have much of their stuff on the website yet, but we are adding more things every day. We've got a bunch of our old used stuff, from some old turbos from one of Lee's cars, to suspension pieces, shifters, all kinds of stuff that just we don't use anymore. So a couple of blow-through carburetors, Soccer Mom's old torque converters, Soccer Mom's old injectors, a bunch of parts. And it's just been a lot of work to keep all this stuff going. We still are a very small shop, and we're doing the best with what we can in our space that we have right now. And it's, for me, I have to make sure that the shop stays successful enough to keep all of my guys paid. That's the most important part. for the business side of KSR. Now, whether that's means that I've got to go work in the shop more, or help with the website development, or whatever needs to be done. And when I'm trying to cut down on the amount of editing that I'm doing at home, especially when I have my girls, then that kind of affects how much time I can put into YouTube. But I am going to try and do some more stuff here fairly regularly. I've got to try to find that balance, and sometimes that's takes some ups and downs to go through. And you know, seeing all you guys at the events and telling me how encouraging I've been to you through the projects that we're doing and my attitude and stuff like that means a ton to me. It's absolutely awesome to have you guys with, you know, the encouraging words and we miss you on YouTube and can't wait to see you on YouTube again. And here we are, we're back on YouTube a little bit. So I think that's probably gonna wrap up this video. Try and get another 1 or 2 done this week, hopefully. Like I said, I've got a lot that I can catch up on, and then we'll start trying to build into some new stuff, but I'm gonna try and get caught up on the old stuff first. Maybe I'll do the Indy 800 video, because that'll be hot, since the Indy 800 was 2 days ago. But appreciate everybody watching and subscribing. We'll see you guys next time.